What's going on, Hood Nation? It's your DFX. I got scammed. Please watch original full screen time. I'm blabbing him. Don't shut up. Also, he's cool with the reactions, and we don't skip ads. And alright, no pressure. I'll just try to set a good example. I will edit them though. I like DOMICS. I haven't watched him in a while, so I'm gonna get that pyramid scheme.
Back when I was in college, I joined a pyramid scheme, which is a business structure revolving around the investment of recruitments who further recruit more participants whose commissions are often partially credited to the earlier recruiters. There are many variants of the pyramid scheme, but the typical outcome of its design is that those in the bottom levels generally do not find profit. That's me, right there. They are illegal in many places, and so they will never admit to you that they are a pyramid scheme. They switch around a few business mechanics to get around the semantics of what defines a pyramid scheme, but they are a pyramid scheme nonetheless. I think it was a friend who one day invited me to join him for a job listing. I don't remember how he found out about it, but despite not having much luck in the part-time job hunts during that time, I wasn't really too interested at first. I didn't understand what the listing was for, but he mentioned that it didn't require prior experience or education. And here I was thinking, well, I have an education. Maybe they'll see that as an advantage and hire me. Ooh. Gah, so stupid. Keep in mind, I was naive to this sort of thing at the time and didn't understand the concept of pyramid schemes yet. I didn't get to watch this kind of video to warn you all about them. So we drive to this sketchy neighborhood I'm unfamiliar with and arrive at this unwelcoming building.
Got your window rolled down too?
Knocking on what could have been both a front or back door, we were greeted by two people, which I assumed to be the employers. Later, I realized that recruiters was the more appropriate title. They quickly introduced themselves and we were then led into a room with maybe 3 or 4 other people. The room had a panel arrangement with a projector set for a PowerPoint presentation at the front. At the side was a snacks table, so you bet I partook in some of that free shit. Hey, whether or not I get hired tonight, I'm at least getting something out of it. Unless I get murdered. They started the presentation soon enough and began talking about their product, which was this premium organic instant coffee, and we were going to be responsible for selling it, which I thought should have been a relatively simple task, right? Many people open up their mornings with coffee to be able to survive a workday, or even start their evenings with one to prepare themselves for the long night of a deadline rush. It's the kind of product people could want at any time of the day. The presentation was relatively short and simple. They first talked about the benefits of being involved in this business, such as the ability to earn full-time income for part-time work, and how they reward BMWs to recruits who work hard and reach a certain quota of their own recruitments. I don't know what it is about these pyramid schemes, but for some reason they always offer a nice car that you realistically will not be able to earn. They also mention a lot of company vacations and benefits that you'll be able to indulge in, all for selling some coffee. And it all depends on how hard you want to work. And that's how they get you. They reel you in with an opportunity that seemingly anyone can be competent in, shower you with the potential for extravagant rewards, and challenge your pride of whether or not you have what it takes to make it big. Sure, there's some truth in that, but it's a real cop-out for the responsibility for you, their recruitments. They've got nothing to lose. If you make it big, well, hey, I guess they were right. I told you could do it. It's just like we said. I don't know why it's a southern accent. We're in Canada. But if you fail miserably, they leave you with the verdict that you've only got yourself to blame because you probably didn't work hard enough. Being a college student contemplating about his continued passion for architecture school, I was a perfect target for them. I was looking for ways out of my program, looking for other options, and they caught me slipping. They continue on with some bullshit health benefits of the coffee and how much more superior it is compared to your everyday Tim Hortons, as if this was supposed to give you eternal youth or something. Now don't get me wrong, they of course let us try some samples of the coffee, and not gonna lie, it kinda slapped. But you know, maybe drinking a product from strangers in a sketchy house should have called for more caution, because they could have been a cult for all I knew, and I probably just drank the ashes of one of their leaders so they could be reincarnated inside of me. Or I don't know, 10 years later, I'm still doing alright. In the middle of the presentation, they even had to preemptively defend themselves and said, "This is not a pyramid scheme." I mean, for them to have to include that in their presentation definitely meant people have accused them of being so in the past. Red flag missed. God, so stupid. After the presentation, I went up to one of them to have a bit of a chat, because when he introduced himself, he mentioned that he was previously an architect. Oh snap, hey, I'm in architecture school, what's up? I asked him about his experience with being an architect, where he studied, and what made him decide to leave that career path and choose this instead. I was given a pretty dismissive answer, as if he was trying to dodge the topic.
Matrix,
I only wanted to talk about the coffee and my interest in it. Oh, okay, maybe one of the buildings he designed fell and doesn't want to talk about it. Were you even an architect, you scheming son of a bitch? Okay, so here's how the scam works. You first have to buy the coffee inventory from your recruiter. They give us a choice between 3 levels of packages: the bronze, the silver, and the gold, each with varying amounts of the coffee and its different types. The bronze only gave you like 2 boxes, and this was meant for recruitments who aren't as willing to dive into the scheme but are down to dip their feet. Low commitment, low risk. In the mind of a scammer, if they can't get someone to full commit, they could at least milk a few drops out of them. The silver gives you a bit more, and of course gold gives you the most, with a larger variety of flavors and decreased price per unit. They got me. That's a bargain. I'll take 10. We are then tasked with selling the product, of course, but we could also find our own recruitments who could sell the coffee for us. Now you're seeing a pattern here.
I'm actually gonna start watching that
anime.
anime.
They didn't exactly tell us how much to sell the coffee for. We had to determine that ourselves. Alright, I guess that kind of makes sense. Selling low would be easier to sell for lower profit, and selling high might be more risky, but you earn more. Set your own stakes, I see. So I did a bit of math when I got home to try and determine my price, and eventually settled on one I could manage. I first started with selling to a few friends and immediate family, trying it out with people I personally knew, and then slowly approached people in my architecture program because we'd all be at studio late at night. I could save them a walk to the coffee shop. This went on for a while, and eventually, after a bit of earnings, I was able to rent out a small unit downtown and open up my own coffee shop. It did really well, and I even got to recruit a nice bundle of people who first started off as frequent customers. Within months, I was finally rewarded with the fabled BMW that they promised us in the presentation.
You get knocked out from that
car,
coffee?
I took a trip to a nearby park where a beautiful woman approached me and complimented how big my wallet was, and so I courted her, and now we live lavishly on our own island guarded by narwhals. No, I didn't sell jack shit. My mother and 2 of my friends bought a pack, and then I realized I had 0 marketing skills because I was awkward when approaching people, and so I was stuck with an actual pyramid scheme of boxes of coffee that I couldn't sell, and the only consolation I had was that I at least liked drinking it because it did low-key slap, and now the only people who actually benefited from this were my recruit. Oh, that's how the scheme works. The presentation by the schemers really knew how to boost your ego and hyperbolize your potential to make it big.
That's kind of how
but really,
works.
They couldn't care less if you sold the coffee or not. We weren't really buying inventory from them, we were just buying. We were the customers, made to seem like investors were the people we invested in, had nothing to lose. And you can only imagine how many more layers of recruitments it goes up before them, with this scenario repeating itself over and
the guy
over.
on top, pretty
Again,
much.
That's me.
Like 10
right
of
there,
them make money out of
bottom.
everybody.
With today's pandemic still heavily affecting many parts of the world and putting people out of jobs, you might be looking for alternative ways to make some money. And it's times like these that can make people really vulnerable and susceptible to these organizations. And while the one that finds you may not be selling coffee, hopefully you could sense the red flags and make better decisions, unlike me. These pyramid schemes are still around because they do still work to some extent, but it's heavily advertised that anyone can find personal success in them, which is false. But hey, Narwhal Island Guard sounded pretty cool though, didn't it?
This happened to me a long time ago, probably back in like 03, 04, 05. Quickstar. But we can call it quicksand now. So I got recruited into it too, and I did it too. I actually made money though personally, but after a while I quit because I couldn't make any more money. I pretty much kind of tapped out. I actually ended up recruiting like 5 or 6 people. I was making about $200 or $300 a month. But then I noticed slowly I couldn't find more people, and the people below me were starting to leave. So of course, once I realized I couldn't get more people, I vacated. They actually had some really good energy drinks. They had a whole catalog of stuff you could buy. The problem is when I first started, and this is why I did good and then it quit, it actually had affordable good prices. Now, fast forward, going past a year, these Nike shoes that were back then, 40, 50 bucks, they were like 70 on that through them, right? Coffee, $8 for Folgers, right, at Walmart or whatever, like 16. Everything was pretty much marked up 20, 30%. And I confronted them, and they got very like, no, all these prices are pretty competitive and stuff. And I'm just like, These are gas station prices. That's when they raised the prices up. First, they gave a little meeting like, "Oh, we just had to, cause inflation." And I saw that, and I'm just like,
Fuck
I
this
cut
shit,
my
I'm
losses,
out.
and I just bounced. I was done. But I digress. Anyways, y'all, hope you like my reaction to this and everything. When joining Hood Nation, chance to do so. To be floating up above. Of course, we got some videos played, so I'll just get your feet wet. But my cup of tea. Y'all go find it. It's out there. Leave it. This is Nidge from DFX. Wow.